Hello, everyone. Today, we're going to present our project regarding Google's DEI practices and their focus on ethical AI and a controversy that happened in that organization. Uh, I'll be presenting as Sohan, and my teammates Bharat, Byungsu, Mitch, and Gautam will also be involved. So I'll start off by giving some background on the incident. So in October 2020, a research paper called On the Dangers of Stochastic Parrots was submitted for review, which highlighted the risk of large language models perpetuating bias because of the data that they get from the World Wide Web. One of the authors of that research paper, Dr. Timnit, uh, a scientist of Ethiopian origin, who's also a woman uh, and worked at Google at that time, uh, was asked to retreat her name out of that paper because that paper challenged some of Google's AI practices. When Dr. Timnit Gebru asked for some clarifications on why and uh, why she needs to retract her name and some more transparency from Google, Google did not give her a response and assumed that as her resignation. She claimed that Google had fired her, and her departure from Google sparked a big debate on ethical AI and DEI within that organization. A few days later, more than 2,000 employees started questioning Google's commitment to transparency, DEI, and the ethical AI initiative. Um, Looking at that incident in a whole, it presented three main problems, which which are highlighted on the next slide. The first problem was where, can we go to the next slide, please? The first problem was where large language models were accepting large amounts of publicly available data and were treating it as representative of all humanity. There wasn't data available for marginalized communities in high volume as it was for historically privileged communities. Uh, the other issue was systematic discrimination and underrepresentations of communities in AI, which is just a continuation of the same issue in the tech industry right now. And then this lack of diversity resulted in insufficient considerations for these marginalized communities when large language models would interpret data. With that, I would hand it over to my colleague Bharat to talk on the next few slides.
Sure. Thanks, Sohan. So this quote by Dr. Gebru is actually a great one which encompasses all of the problem that we've just went over. So she's saying essentially that she's actually not worried about machines taking over the world, but it's about the groupthink, the singularity and arrogance in the AI space, which is basically ignoring all of the problems that we've just prefaced earlier. If you move to the next slide, we'll quickly talk about some DEI benchmarking across industry and also Google. So, a study published by McKinsey has recently highlighted that only 17% of the researchers are from underrepresented community within the AI space. While that's low, when you look at Google and their internal diversity report published in 2023, also kind of brings out similar results, which talks about the representation of Black and Latinx employees within engineering and technology roles with Google. Now, as you see the state of the industry, thinking about what can actually solve the problem, if we look at the tools available out there to which are helping us gauge the fairness and inclusivity in LLMs, there is not a lot which are universally accepted. Although there is something coming up right now with IBM 360 degrees fairness standards, so on and so forth, there is still a lot of work to be done. I'm now going to pass on to my colleague Mitch to go over the proposed action plan.
Thank you. For our action plan, we utilize the PRESS framework. So starting off with problem awareness, to deal with the issue of potential biases in the data sets, we recommend conducting thorough audits of the training data sets to identify and remove any flagged content. We also recommend collaborating with independent social data scientists, ethics boards, and civil rights organizations for regular and structured oversight. For root cause analysis, with the primary root cause being the prioritization of product development over ethical data, we recommend regular reviews of project timelines to ensure ethical considerations are not sacrificed for speed. We also recommend developing robust, responsible AI frameworks that evaluate not only data privacy and usage, but also the quality of the data. as well as implementing diverse teams of internal review committee members with industry and country-wide domain expertise. For empathy, we highly recommend implementing mental health support and instituting fair compensation for all AI employees, as well as mandatory unconscious bias training for AI researchers, managers, and senior leadership involved in decision making. Next slide, please. For strategy, we recommend creating a cross-functional responsible AI council, reporting directly to the CO, formalizing clear red lines for the types of data or projects that pose ethical risks, and building partnerships with historically underrepresented communities to diversify talent pipelines. We could also tie executive bonuses or performance metrics to DEI milestones. For sacrifice, anticipate slower AI development cycles due to thorough reviews and dataset validations. Um, Allocate a dedicated budget for DEI initiatives, such as inclusive hiring and retention programs, to ensure long-term leadership commitment and sustainment. Over to Gotham for metrics.
Thank you, Mitch. Our first major metric is to increase the representation of women and underrepresented minorities in AI leadership role by 10% within 2 years. This is crucial for bringing diverse perspectives for our AI development. We will be aiming for 90% compliance with new data governance models, demonstrating our commitment to responsible data handling. To ensure transparency, we will publish annual reports on our data auditing results, which will help build trust with our customers and stakeholders. To measure our progress, we plan to conduct semi-annual anonymous surveys on our DUI initiatives, targeting a 20% increase in positive sentiment. This will help us gauge the effectiveness of our efforts and allow us to adjust our approach based on feedback. I'll hand it over to Mitch for the conclusion and the drawbacks.
So, potential backlash includes product development and resistance against the slower product releases, which some may perceive as threatening the market share of the AI products. Additionally, data restrictions, limiting training data sources, could potentially reduce model performance. So, in order to address these issues, Google will need to invest in advanced data farming techniques and engage in stakeholder education to demonstrate the long-term benefits of ethical AI practices. In conclusion, or sorry, next slide. In conclusion, implementing a robust DEI-oriented AI strategy is not only an ethical imperative, but also a competitive advantage. Google leadership can proactively address data bias and champion fair labor conditions by aligning AI initiatives with inclusive hiring and research practices. In doing so, the company stands to build public trust, foster innovation, and honor its commitment to both societal welfare and shareholder value. Thank you.